Okay, back at it on Thursday. Longshore McKnight, so glad you are with us here today. A little on the tired side, extra coffee, late night, Prime Video, NBA play-in. Man, I cannot get enough. Disappointed. No games tonight. I don't know what
Yes.
I'm going to do.
Yeah. What do you, Jesse Waters can only take you so far, If there's a new SVU out, and I don't think there is, John may be out of luck.
Is Brandel Chamblee got a special on Golf Channel tonight, possibly? Because I know I'm not watching baseball.
I was about to say there is that option out there. Good morning, everybody. It is our Thursday show. If you haven't gotten your taxes in, hopefully you filed for an extension. I'd love to be that guy that sits over there at the IRS and he rules on extensions or not. Yeah. Does he like, no, the Warriors beat the Clippers. I lost a bundle. No. Heck
Gosh,
no.
listen to the Phantom. More on that later.
I wonder about some of the excuses that they come up with. See,
I've always wondered how many people are employed by the IRS and have to go through all of that meticulous work. And I mean, do they ever go, man, this looks okay, approved. This one, then, not so good.
See, that's with me. I love my CPA, the guy who does my taxes. I mean, I have to fill out this worksheet and everything. Gibson Carden, big shout out to my guy Ross at Gibson Carden. But I don't really know. He fills them out and he does a good job, but he does it based on the information that I provide him.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm thinking, I think I got everything. I mean, a couple of the things. Number one, I've got 2 jobs. Number 2, I use my home as part of my business. I'm doing the show from home. How much of a tax write-off is that? I think I got everything that I'm ready. If there's one thing I want out of my federal government more than, educating our kids and taking and, handling our defense and all that, can we have a simplified tax code?
That would be nice.
I would be proud to pay what I owe. I would be proud. But and my wife, we're in it together, obviously. I'm just hoping for the best. It's kind of like the Phantom and the Daily Dog. You just get the best information you can and hope for the best. I don't know if it's going to work out. I've never been. Well, I'm not even going to say that because that's a kiss of death. But I'm hoping
it is. Do with it what you want. And I'm like you, Barry. I just hand it over and go, hey, do me right.
Yeah, right.
Do me right. Sharpen that pencil up.
Yeah, that's John's approach that got him through several essay assignments that he had in college with the new boys.
Every now and then I'll say, now listen, just in case, if I do get a call from the IRS, you are going to, go with me, aren't you? I mean, you're not leaving me hanging. Oh, yeah. Don't you worry.
Okay. All right. Then send it off. Yep. Here, I'll sign it right now. Well, as far as on the court stuff or on the field stuff, yesterday, okay, the play-in stuff is done, I believe. Heck,
we got some games on Friday. Barry, you got to be more up to date on the NBA. I mean, you kidding me?
There's playoff stuff, but I don't know if it's the play-in stuff.
Yep, Friday we have a play. You have Charlotte and Orlando down in the Magic City. We've got Golden State. More on that later.
Yeah,
at Phoenix on Friday. And then Saturday, we get into the first round of the NBA playoffs. So we've already got 4 games scheduled on Saturday. The winners of Friday's game will play. Unfortunately, one of the winners is playing at Oklahoma City. The other one is playing at Detroit. Those will be on Sunday, but we won't know who those are because the winner of the 2 games tomorrow, both on Prime Video, by the way.
Yeah.
Will play on Sunday.
I'm a big streaming guy. John has gone into it kicking and screaming as far as sports goes. I think John's pretty well clear on the other stuff, thanks to the kids. But I love ESPN Plus. I get a lot. The Apple TV is where I get my Major League Soccer. The other sports on Amazon Prime is okay. NFL football.
Not to. I don't know. I'm not talking negative about them in any form or fashion, but you see these commercials about, you got too many subscriptions you don't know about, and we're here to help you get rid of the ones you're paying for that you didn't even know you were still paying for. And I went, boy, that's me.
Yeah.
And I think I've got most of those cleared up, but like ESPN Plus was one of them. I'm thinking Hulu, Disney, ESPN Plus. What am I spending $19.95 a month on? So because on my YouTube TV, if I'm away, out and about, got to be at the game, got to see it, I can just pull my YouTube TV account up on my phone.
Yeah.
So I can see the games. I don't need ESPN Plus to do it. So I thought, and I ain't watching the Disney Channel. And Hulu, I don't even know what that's for. So I got
Hulu is like YouTube TV. I'm a Hulu guy. John's a YouTube TV.
Yeah. So I got rid of that a while back. The wife wanted to watch something called The Madison on Paramount Plus. I said, I ain't signing up for Paramount Plus. She probably did anyway.
I was about to say, that stopped her.
And I'll start noticing that bill popping back up. But
the thing is,
they will kind of get you. If you don't pay attention to, you go, did I sign up for that? Yeah, I guess I did.
Well, and I don't mind that. I watch it pretty closely. But if you're at the game, you're at and about somewhere, and you say, I can watch this game on YouTube TV on my phone. What do I need ESPN Plus for? John, you need it if you're going to watch Louisiana Lafayette versus North Texas. Because that is not offered on the main YouTube TV grid. That's extra. If all of a sudden you're in there and it's the fourth quarter and Georgia's driving and you're thinking, man, they are not going to cover biggest day. I need this. And then all of a sudden you have a hankering. You have a hankering for a little Western Kentucky versus Bowling Green. You're out of luck if you haven't paid.
Don't they have like a 20-day free subscription period or 7?
Yeah, but you can't do it over. You can't do it 20 days and then 20 more days and then 20 more days.
So here's the trick with that. Got 5 kids, a wife, and a cat. They've all subscribed at one point in time.
What's your cat's name? Give me your cat's name.
George.
That's a smart move because pretty soon some of those guys, kind of like those same guys at the IRS who say denied, extension approved. They got some guy at YouTube TV who's going, or ESPN Plus who's going, all right, this is Muffin Longshore. All right. Okay. I don't think that's a real person, but George Longshore.
Yeah.
They'll pass that. I mean, that's good. Having a cat named George is actually a very smart move if you want to beat the system.
I got that idea, Barry, back in the day when I was a teenager and I could get 8 cassettes for a penny from Columbia Records. And I would get my 8. And then I'd immediately cancel because I didn't want to have, or I'd buy, you have to buy like 2 in the next 3 years.
Right.
I'd go ahead and buy my 2, get it over with, boom, cancel. Then I'd resubscribe and I'd come up with a different name. And I'd do it again, buy my 2, bam, out of there. I mean, I had 60 cassettes, bought 6 of them.
Maybe paid like 8 cents.
Yeah. It was great. I'm thinking, how does this work? I'm not the only one that's gotten over on them, have I?
Because
maybe I was.
People like me. You got people like me who would fulfill the terms of the agreement at 11 years old. I'm thinking, all right. On this one, I'll get Rock the Boat by the Hughes Corporation. Give me Turn the Beat Around by Vicky Sue Robinson. And I'll get How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees. Okay, but I got to remember to get my other 2 before the next 2 years, and I would do it. And John's like, he'd go, golly, John would say, all right, Iron Butterfly. All right, got it. Cashmere from Led Zeppelin. Got it.
Yep.
And let's see. All right, got it. Cancel.
Done.
Yeah. Get over on the system. I never would.
I got them all going on. It was great. I loved it. I felt like I kind of, beat the system a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably do the same thing with my YouTube or ESPN Plus subscription. Because Barry, if Troy's on ESPN Plus, I'm just going out to the driveway. I'm listening to you. I don't know who these guys are they're putting on ESPN Plus. Never heard them, seen them before. I'm thinking I don't listen to those guys. So I just go listen to you when I'm checking out Troy. And if Bama and Auburn have that one ESPN Plus game a year, oh, yeah, you think I'm going to watch that one? Forget
that. That
it.
is a driveway game. Every time, and let's hope it's close. Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Chris and the guys, but I'm not listening to Bama versus Mercer, Auburn versus Abilene Christian. Forget it. Not happening.
That is why John has a score app on his phone. Only 28-7. Let's go. The line's 29. Let's
got to
go.
move on. Yeah. So, so that's my deal about subscriptions that I once had, or maybe still have, and still don't know it yet. But
we feel the obligation here on the show in the first segment to talk about the news of the day. The Warriors beat the Clippers last night in the play-in game, 126-121. Clippers are out. More on that later.
Yeah, more on that later.
Magic and the 76ers. 76ers win it, 109-97. They did it without Joel Embiid. The Sixers are now the number 7 seed in the East, and they face the Celtics in the first round. Tonight, nothing.
I know.
Nothing in the NBA.
Unbelievable. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. He might have to. I'm not necessarily worried about his viewing habits because I'm not sure I want to know. But is he going to go Major League Baseball for the Phantoms Daily Dog today? The Braves win again. A 6-3 home win.
Oh, the Marlins. Go figure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That did happen. So 6-3 was the final score. And Braves continue on top of the National League.
And by the way, the Rays won too. Just since we're talking, Tampa Bay won. Just thought I'd throw it out there. We are a Rays town.
Yeah,
they're leading their division, but nobody gives them any love but me. Yeah. Good old John. Let's go Rays. Yeah.
Rays town and all. Yeah. Only John. Yeah. Also, a little bit more today. We'll get a full, as much as we can, preview of the Auburn A-Day game.
Yeah.
A visit from Jason Caldwell from Auburn Undercover, who's entrenched over there. What do you expect? What are you looking for? Ty, get this. Hey. Ty, who's in early every morning. He was in at 4:30 this morning. He kind of makes a point out of it to get in, and then he, goes back to bed. Ty says, I don't know if you talked about it yesterday because I had to go somewhere before the show was over.
Come on, Ty.
Plan your day better than that. But Auburn has O-line issues too. Yeah, well, Ty, you could have used that, save that. If you know how to save that, right click it, put it in your notes app, because you could have used that chat really for the last 4 years, 5 years.
Well, true. That's right.
Yeah, they maybe will have, and they currently do have.
And where Bama fan is so beside themselves, wringing their hands, window licking, whatever it is they do.
Yes.
About this offensive line. But when we get back from this first break, can we talk like grown adults here? Can we just, quit with the yin-yanging about the offensive line? I've got something I want to say about that when we return. It might just kind of squelch this offensive line talk for a couple of months.
John has reached his limit.
Yeah.
John has had it up to here.
Yeah.
Some of you yahoos out here, he is fixing to get you told. It's our Thursday show. Not only Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, but it's Rodney Orr Day from TiderInsider.com, brought to you by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, Longshore and McKnight, in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, you want your property looking its very best this spring and summer, and River Region Straw has premium long needle pine straw to make that property pop. You're not buying sticks, stems, or pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the region, full of color that will last all season long. And now River Region Straw has a fourth location in Chelsea on Highway 280 to go along with their locations here in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn. No order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. To get your River Region Straw, drop by any of their 4 locations or give Kenny a call or text today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959, and have the best-looking property this spring and summer with straw from River Region Straw.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here. All righty, welcome back in. About 18 minutes past the hour here on this Thursday. Longshore McKnight, Jason Caldwell. In about 12 minutes, Rodney Orr, top of hour number 2. I've never coached a down of offensive line. Never played the position. Knew a lot of guys that did. So maybe I don't know what to be looking out for. Swim moves, 3 techniques, Z zone, whatever they are. I hear all this mumbo jumbo, which, it's like Greek to me. But I can tell when a guy can block somebody, can move somebody out of the way, open up a hole, protect the quarterback. That's kind of what the casual fan, I guess, is looking for.
Hey,
I'm not looking if he's got his hand in the dirt or if he's, pulling or whatever. Just, don't really look for that kind of stuff.
He can tell when somebody beats the offensive tackle and sacks the quarterback.
I can see that. Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad. That's not supposed to happen. They had a play called and a play designed and a play practiced, and they couldn't run that play because somebody didn't block somebody.
Last fall, Barry, I think I heard this phrase quite a bit. Dadgummit 74. Of course, it wasn't Dadgummit.
No.
Yeah, I heard that a lot last fall. Who, remarkably, I understand is going to be a number 1 draft pick or get picked in the first round. Not a number 1, but be picked in the first round of the NFL draft coming up. Must have really improved since the last time I saw him. Anyway, but everybody's getting all freaked out about it. And I got to think that both Kalen DeBoer and Alex Golish, whose teams both seem to be experiencing some offensive line issues from reports we're picking up on. I got to think they're both smart enough to know that it's an area of concern. Now, are they going to get it figured out in 15 practices in the spring? Maybe they were hoping to. But I could certainly understand if they don't, particularly if you're putting in new pieces, there's new groupings, trying to get them all to mesh and gel as one, different quarterbacks battling for a position.
Right.
It could be, make the offensive line, who's this guy? We got a different guy calling the snap, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you got spring, and then you got all summer, and then you got preseason camp, and then the first game rolls around, and I'm thinking, let's just tap the brakes a little bit. They're not playing tomorrow. If it's that bad in September, then certainly there's going to be some big concerns. People are going to be asking some questions. Certainly more of Kalen DeBoer since he's in his third year compared to Golis, who's just starting at Auburn. But is it just at the time of year? Because I've heard so much about the offensive line for both these programs. Everything else must be great. Everything else, there's no problems. But, man, those offensive lines, oh, man. So I just say, don't stress. Let them try to figure it out over the summer and in preseason camp.
Well, there have been reports from Auburn Undercover, several websites, that Auburn's offensive line took a huge step forward in their scrimmage they had earlier this week that Gus Malzahn was at. Huge step forward. They're still mixing and matching. They do have a couple of injuries, including Ramil, one of the tackles. And maybe, and meshing is going to be a big deal because so much of offensive line is communicating with each other. It's communication. And there's different guys that you haven't played with before. Sometimes you just have to play with the guys that you're on the line with to reach your potential. You can only do drills and gain something from drills so many times. But
an interesting point.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. I didn't see it. But it's kind of like what I talked about earlier this week. Who are these people in the media that prop up Alabama athletics on a consistent basis and are downgrading Auburn? Who are these people? Same thing with this. Who saw this? Who's reporting on this? Was it against the third team defense? Who were the personnel in there at the time?
Yeah.
We heard that someone said it about Alabama's A-Day. Well, we don't know who Keelan Russell was going up against compared to who Austin Mack had to face.
True. That's a fair point.
There's a lot of that, you've got to consider and factor in as well.
We can factor in a lot. The names that we are looking at, and maybe they're not names you need to know. Maybe they're not names you care to know. But Tyler Hudenick and Adrian Clem, we got our eyes on you. Tyler Hudenick is the Auburn run game coordinator and offensive line coach. Adrian Clem is a new hire for Alabama as the offensive line coach. Clem comes to Tuscaloosa with a wealth of coaching experience, both on the collegiate and NFL levels. Southern Cal, Oregon, UCLA, New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers. So, I mean, he's gotten, and now he's at dang Alabama, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
So, what kind of a job has he done? I can't tell. He hadn't had it for very long. But is it hyperbole? I'm kidding. Is it hyperbole to have people say, I saw A-Day that on many plays, not all, our offensive line were not stepping play side at the snap, which caused gaps in protection. Guys not shooting their hat and hands at defenders. Basic fundamental things. To answer your question, it was a question from Ty. These are things you learn in middle school. And after 10 days of practice, you should not be dealing with these basic things. So, yes, I have never seen an SEC offensive line play with a total lack of basic fundamentals. So to answer your question, this O-line yesterday, men's A-Day, didn't play like a D1 offensive line, much less an SEC offensive line.
So
these are problems every high school offensive line has mastered. For an SEC O-line to be struggling with that is illogical and shows signs that the players haven't been coached. That is what concerns me. Is that high schools have been coached better, total lack of fundamentals?
Or is it the players aren't any good? Are they not getting the level of player they need? Or is you going to blame it all on the coach? And I guess they are recruiting them. They're evaluating them. So I guess it is the coach's responsibility to bring in players that should know what they're doing based on what you just said. So are they bringing in the best players? I mean, everybody's crowing about this running back, Trayshawn Brown from Huntsville, Texas.
Yep.
I'd never heard of the guy. He had offers from Arkansas State, Navy, and North Texas. Ends up in Tuscaloosa. If they got offensive linemen similar, they got offers from schools like that. Because I don't know, is Alabama afraid that, well, if we get these big-time guys, A, we can't afford them, and B, they'll end up at Ohio State or Michigan before we know it. I see where a basketball player that Alabama really wanted to stay ended up at a Big Ten school. Adrian Brill. Is that the problem? That they just aren't evaluating the best talent and or can't afford them?
Everybody who's an Alabama fan is screaming the name Josh Jacobs at you on the television right now, John. Every one of them. Josh Jacobs didn't get any big-time offers, and he's in the NFL. Trayshawn Brown, he's breaking a lot of tackles. Yeah, are they at the line of scrimmage? Are they behind the line? And,
of course, Josh Jacobs played at Alabama, what, 8 years ago?
8 years ago, I'm thinking, yeah. Sounds right.
There was no NIL, no transfer portal, no nothing. A little bit different scenario than it is today. And you didn't have schools swooping in and grabbing your best players, as has been the case. We saw it with Caleb Downs and Julian Saying. We saw it with Quay Russaw. Auburn saw it with Cam Coleman at Texas. James Smith, another one. I mean, how much longer can Alabama in particular just let these schools just come in and raid their best players? There again, wait for you, Greg Sankey, to tell us how you're going to get this problem corrected. Big Ten doesn't seem to have a problem with it. They're loving it. We'll snag every best player we can out of the SEC. We'll beat them in football and basketball, which happened to Alabama. Got beat by the eventual national champions in both football and basketball. Now, how are you going to correct this problem?
I will admit that Alabama and Auburn have gotten their fair share too. I mean, they're not just hemorrhaging players. I would like to see somebody from Ohio State transfer to Alabama. See Jamison Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, they all transferred in. Those guys are NFL guys.
Before the environment in which we're playing under currently.
And
Jahmyr Gibbs came from Georgia Tech, Ohio State.
Yeah,
good player.
Jamison Williams, who's the guy? Deron Carter. I think he came from Ohio State. He didn't turn out to be.
So Saban left 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know of one player that's left a big-time player that's left a Big Ten school that's ended up in Tuscaloosa or Auburn. But I can reel off a bunch of them that have gone the other direction. Just threw out a few. And those were big-time, 5-star, You ballyhooed. Woo, look at this guy. Everybody was all geeked up about Julian saying, here comes another quarterback from California.
Plug and play. Yeah.
Caleb Downs will be a first-round NFL draft pick. People said one of the best defensive backs to ever play college football. Gone. Done.
He was there a year. But the problem I've got right now is in researching this. John says, I can't name a single one. It might have been a few. It might have been a couple. I don't know. I mean, they lose Justice Haynes to Michigan, and he led the team in rushing. He was, I think, all Big Ten or something like that. So you remember those. But if you go to RollTide.com and their football roster, they don't tell you where they transferred in from or where they got them from. I think that's probably a reason why they do that.
I would think so.
Sports show hosts to look back and say, see, I don't see a single one. Now they don't even put that on there. And they need to put that stuff on there so we know.
Well, anyway. I know there's a lot of worrying about the offensive line. To me, the thing is, how are you going to keep your top players there?
Yeah, well.
I mean, with Austin Mack, what are they telling that guy? I mean, fourth year into it, hadn't grasped the starting position yet. I know they want a little insurance just in case Caleb Downs ends up being the guy. Not Caleb, but Keelan Russell ends up being the guy.
Right.
But how long are you going to let these guys just move on?
All right.
Not be able to compete financially.
We've got an A-Day preview coming up. Jason Caldwell joins us in a moment. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
More problems. Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama.
You're our good luck charm. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
All righty, 27 minutes to the top of the hour here on this Thursday, Longshore and McKnight. We bring in our friend Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, getting ready for some A-Day, a lot of other action going on the plains. Jason, how you doing today?
I'm good, guys. Just back from walking my daughter. I go with her to school and walking back to get a little walk in this morning. So doing good. It's a great morning today.
Very nice. We had C.J. Duncan yesterday with his 7-week-old daughter, Jason Caldwell with his little girl. I love that stuff. First of all, we've been previewing this today, kind of wondering out loud, and we told everybody we'd ask you about that. Jason Caldwell's most important things to look for and establish on A-Day on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's more of just players, just watching guys. I don't know that there's anything because I vividly remember, Cam Newton's A-Day game. People went, "Uh-oh, man, he can't throw the ball," and you're like, "Well, just wait." And I think it's gonna be the same thing Saturday. what you know about Byron Brown will not be shown on Saturday. It's going to be when people have to tackle him in addition to him throwing the football and doing all those things. So probably just physically, that's it. Even the offensive line, people go, what's it going to look like? Well, it's probably not going to look like what it's going to look like in September Saturday. So, you just go look physically, how do the wide receivers look physically? Defensive guys, they're not going to show very much. So for me, it's just about the players individual more than anything on Saturday.
Jason, we've heard it all around. It's happening in Tuscaloosa. It seems to be happening in Auburn. A lot of fans getting flustered because the offensive line is not playing well. My thing is, look, you got 15 practices in the spring. You got all summer. You got preseason drills. Isn't it a little too early to be panicking about the offensive line?
Yeah, well, it's like I said earlier when somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago what I thought the starting offensive line was going to be. I said, listen, I'm not worried about anything on April 16th. I'm just not. It's a long time to sort things out, and especially when Auburn only has 3 guys back on the offensive line, and every one of those guys are true freshmen. It's going to take a while. That's just the way it is. It's going to take a while in this climate. That's probably the last thing that you figure out for every school around the country, not just Auburn. The days of having, 8, 9 offensive linemen back that played football for you and are still here, like those days are gone. You don't have that anymore. And so, what's it look like? And now the chemistry that's needed, like you said, you don't develop that in the spring when you practice 3 times a week and, you have some meetings. That stuff happens when you get back together in August. And so I think you'll learn a lot more about this offensive line by the time they get on the field next year. It's just physically. What does Ty Buster look like? Joe Simmons, what do those guys look like at tackle? They're still without, Stanton Ramil that transferred from Michigan State is a little banged up. They're rotating guys. I think, in the scrimmage they had the other day this week on Tuesday, there was Ty Buster and Joe Simmons, but they were both playing left tackle and right tackle, and they were just alternating back and forth. That's what this spring's about, to try to figure it out.
We read with interest at auburnundercover.com that Coach Golish had said that the offense took a major step forward in Tuesday's scrimmage, Jason.
Yeah, I think that's what you look for is go, hey, the back and forth that you need. The defense had dominated for much of the spring. And listen,
right.
They haven't backed off those guys. They turned, DJ Dirk and this defense loose and said, go get them. And they've had to respond. And I thought for really the first time this spring, they had one of those days in a scrimmage type situation on Saturday. And, Byron Brown made some plays with the running game, did some things, and a couple of true freshman wide receivers, Deshaun Spencer from Saraland, who had a monster senior season, and then Brian Williams, the kid from Orlando. Those 2 freshman wide receivers made plays, and so that's what is happening now. Is you're finding which guys will step up when it's tough and do some of that. So I think, from an offensive perspective, I think they were pleased with how those guys responded after the defense, dominated from probably the first 3 quarters of spring.
What do you think you're going to see Saturday? Will there be any 1s versus 1s? Will it be, 1s versus 2s? What do you think is going to play out?
I think they'll do some 1s versus 1s. I think they'll try to have a game type atmosphere, but it'll be offense versus defense. And they've done 1 versus 1s pretty much all spring. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of that. But I think you'll see some situational stuff, do some of those things too. But I wouldn't be surprised to see 1s versus 1s with, everybody with the quarterback live and then, giving the running backs a chance. And I would not be shocked to see them throw it around a little bit, especially when you get the next guys in, whether it's Tristan Tia, some of those guys in, the next quarterbacks, to see them throw it a little bit and see what they can do.
Well, let's talk about the next quarterback. It seems as though the one area that nobody seems to be worried about is quarterback with Byron Brown. What about behind him, especially as it relates to A-Day?
Yeah, I think, Tristan T is a kid that came from Oregon State, played games for them, started a couple of games for them, can really throw it. I mean, he's an athletic guy too, but he has easy arm talent. And so looking forward to seeing him in a game atmosphere and kind of seeing him sling it around some. But, you got to, backup from USF that's here. That was the backup to Byram last year, so he knows the offense. Then you got Reese Brush, a true freshman. So you got 4 guys. But yeah, Tristan Tia seems like a guy that has continued to improve as he's learned the offense. And right now, I would say that I would put my odds on him being the backup when the time comes in the fall.
Jason, how big was it for Stephen Pearl to retain Tahad Pettiford?
Yeah, the biggest part of it was the way it happened. If people haven't read Nathan King's story, he talked to Tahad's dad, and like he said, look, Auburn came and said, we want to keep you. There were people that were coming after him that were going to offer more, but he believed in what Auburn was doing. To me, I thought it was not I won't say monumental moment, but when the guy says, look, I want to be there and I want to develop there and I believe in the coaching staff in this day and age, that ought to be celebrated because it doesn't happen very much anymore. And so I think for a guy like Todd Pettiford, you go from a guy that people are going, well, can he be the guy, to now people going, man, I'm really rooting for that guy because he's sticking with it and he's sticking it out. And I think that's something that could be important, and you go, look, building blocks for a roster, that's what it takes because, look, you can't start over. You got to have some building blocks and pieces at some point. And he's one of those guys now. You think about what you have returning, you think about building blocks, you have some of those guys now.
What held him back last year, Jason?
I think we just talked about offensive line. The same thing holds true in basketball. When you replace an entire roster and say, okay, now go play, it seems simple, but it's not, because you got to know everybody and you got to know your role. And it felt like what it was, which is a bunch of pieces thrown together and see if you can form a team. And it's hard to do that. And so I think for Tahad, to me, it feels a little bit like baseball at times this season too. You come in with the pressure of having to be the guy. Oh man, he's going to be the guy. Here he is. And all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, I've got to go be that guy. I just want to play basketball. And I think he probably tried to take on too much of that himself instead of, just letting it come to him. And I think at the end of the year, he said, look, I'm just going to be who I am. And I thought he played his best basketball.
Trying to draw bead on baseball a little bit. They had their struggles, but they run-rule Kentucky on Sunday. They run-rule Alabama State on Tuesday. Now they got to go to Gainesville, where I guess they start tonight, right?
Yep.
Against
Florida. Tonight. Yep. Yeah. Look at this league and you just don't know. I think the only two teams that have not been swept are Georgia and Kentucky. I think everybody in this league has been swept at least one time.
Wow.
I think there's 11 teams within 2 games of fourth place, which is 9 and 6. I think there's 11 teams within 2 games, either from 9 and 6 to 7 and 8. So there's a ton of movement. And Butch Thompson talked about this. He said, I called it the Continental Divide. Said when it rains, water falls either one way. It either goes to the Atlantic or Pacific, or he's like, which way is the water going to flow? Because it has no choice now. It's got to go somewhere. And you start the second half, tonight at Florida. Really talented baseball team. They won on the road at Georgia over the weekend, and they lost to Bethune-Cookman Tuesday night. They lost a series at home last weekend. Got swept at Alabama. Have played really good at times. Swept Arkansas on the road. I mean, that's the nature of this league, and so you just don't know. For Auburn, can you keep the approach at the plate? That's the key. There's, I think 4 out of the last 6 games, you look at them and going, man, they've hit the ball the other way, limited strikeouts, and made hard contact. And when they do that, this team can compete with anyone because of the pitching staff. And if they keep pitching it like they do, they're going to have a chance to, in every series down the stretch.
You look at, I've got a question back to Saturday around the A-Day. You look at AuburnUndercover.com, the great staff. You mentioned Nathan King. I love the work he does. In recruiting, I get the sense that a lot of times Christian Clemente, who does a great job tracking visits and who's coming in and how it's going, you are the one who's actually, to me, the one who's out on the road and watching these kids and saying who you like, who looks good and all that kind of stuff. What does A-Day look like in terms of recruiting in a general sense?
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good visitor list again. And they've had a bunch of guys on campus. And
yeah,
look, like for a lot of places there, you heard John talking about it. Like there's a lot of Big Ten commitments and there's a lot of commitments in other places. They don't seem to be flowing as much in the Southeastern Conference at the moment for a lot of big schools. I don't think it's necessarily a cause for concern. I do think one of the things about this is they did a very strategic job of going out in the portal and bringing in guys that had multiple years. Now, they brought some old guys in. There's a few guys that are older, but they brought a bunch of guys in who are sophomores and redshirt freshmen and juniors that have other years. So I think they're going, look, can we get elite top level guys, but it may be a smaller class. And especially in certain areas. We mentioned the offensive line. They signed 5 high school offensive linemen. You had 3, true freshmen coming back, and you brought in a couple of sophomores. Well, that's 10 of your guys already that you try to keep before next year. So you have a built-in bigger group already, which is I think a plus for them as they try to build this thing back up. But it's been good. They've had really good feedback, a bunch of guys visiting on campus, and right now that's the key for them. Keep getting guys on campus and keep showing them who you are.
Got Gus Malzahn back on campus. And that was almost a full extra hour needed on the show just for that. And Golesh says, look, man, if he's done it here and he's been successful here, I'm going to listen to him, right? Seems smart to me.
Alex Golesh and this staff have done a great job of welcoming former players, former coaches. I mean, Terry Bowden came and toured the facility, had not been in it he did it for the first time. Gus he still lives here. He's got his house here, still got a house at the lake. So he is, he's in Auburn. So he just came by, wanted to watch things. But obviously Cody Burns is there, so there's a connection for him there. But when you think about just the connections to try to bring together the past, you look at so many places. I think about Miami, for example. Now, you don't want to have guys waving towels on the sidelines and Michael Irvin, on the 10-yard line on the field. But you do want to have guys involved because those are guys that can speak to what it means to play at Auburn and all those things. So I think they've done a good job of trying to embrace the past and make sure people feel welcome.
Yeah, I'm not, Jason, I've never understood why any coach wouldn't want former players back there selling the program for them.
It's a mystery. I'm not really understanding why you wouldn't want that either, but they have been, it's open arms this spring. Hey, you want to come watch a practice? You're a former player. Hey, tell them you're coming and you get out there and get a chance to watch. And so I think it's been great for them. And like I said, talking to former coaches, hey, what do I need to know about Auburn? I think that's important because the one thing that is that, look, it's a different place and different in a good way, but it's hey, people want to feel involved. They want to feel like they're a part of things. And I think hearing that from former coaches about, hey, here's what I learned and what I took away from here, I think is a big deal.
One final question. Somebody just texted it to me. Big Jeremiah Cobb fans here in this area, seems established. Where does Bryson Washington, what's his role?
That's it. That's an interesting one because he's been a little banged up.
Okay.
And it has opened the door for Omar Mabson, guy that played last year as a true freshman, as an early high school graduate. He's probably the most physical guy at that position right now, and he's still just 18 years old. I mean, he should still be just a true freshman now. Matter of fact, should be finishing up high school now, and he's already played a year. But Omar's been good. Got Barry that Tay Meadows has done some good things this spring, and not a surprise at all. And then you got Alvin Henderson, he's really worked heading into year 2. So there's a lot of competition there. Bryson Washington's a bigger physical back. You got Nakai Davenport that came from USF. I mean, you got 5 running backs that are in competition. And I think Bryson Washington's a guy that's going to be in the mix. But I think, especially Omar Mabson, I think has probably showed this coaching staff some stuff this spring.
How about that? So much information from Jason. So much information on the website, auburnundercover.com. How do people log in?
Yeah, auburnundercover.com. You said it, part of the 24/7 network. All those social media platforms, you can find us there. And got a ton of things. We got 10 offensive guys that myself and Nathan King are anxious to see. We'll do 10 defensive guys tomorrow. Okay. Baseball preview. Got baseball this weekend. And then Saturday's going to be a busy day. Baseball will be playing in Gainesville. So I'll have to be trying to cover that one from here leading up to an A-Day game. So it may be 6, 7, 8 o'clock before we get done with everything on Saturday night.
Hey, I know you'll have it up there, though. Folks certainly We be going to Auburn Undercover for all the latest information. Man, Jason, as always, we appreciate your time. Enjoy the morning. It's beautiful out there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Jason Caldwell.
Man, great stuff as always from Jason.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Did
I hear that correctly? Was that Trooper Taylor on the sideline with a towel, or did I hear Michael?
No,
Irvin?
Michael Irvin on the
Irvin.
sidelines.
Because I do vividly remember my man Trooper with that towel over there on the sidelines.
That is not hard for me to believe.
Yeah. Well, we're buddies. I mean, we got a little, shook his hand,
chest
got
bump, little dap. Yeah, the whole deal.
Yeah, so I'll never forget my man Trooper Taylor. So great stuff there.
I like the commentary, and I like the honesty. He says, and not just because Jason Caldwell, like Brian Matthews, agreed with John. Right before if you're just joining us, like Chris the Bammer, right before our interview with Jason came about, John was on his soapbox a little bit and says, look, all this stuff about the offensive line, I've been on the offensive line last year because they didn't play well, and all this stuff about, the spring and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know yet. You got time to fix it. You got time to identify players. You got time to don't be panicking now. Now, John, like me, thoroughly reserves the right during the season to say, if they don't play well, to say, hey, man, they ain't playing well. But John says, just take a step back a little bit. All this doom and gloom and woe is me. And immediately after the commercial break, Jason Caldwell, hey, what about A-Day? He says, just watch and see the players. Just see who's out there, He says, you're not going to see the starting offensive line out there all together and meshing like 5 fingers in a glove and all that. Just watch and see. This is no big deal.
Jason referenced.
Did he send Jason a text during the break and say, here's what of course he heard a little bit of it.
Yeah. Jason mentioned Cam Newton. I mentioned him earlier the week too. Nobody knew what this kid could do. I mean, nobody said a word about Cam Newton after the A-Day game. Man, somebody rolled out there at quarterback, took about 3 snaps. So he's a big kid, didn't see much. So, yeah, come on.
And Chiswick's rubbing his hand saying, excellent. He's Montgomery Burns. My plan is working. Nobody knows about Cam Newton. So,
yeah, I still don't know if Chiswick is welcome back in the football building. I don't think Brian Harsin is. But it's amazing how many former Auburn head football coaches are being welcomed back.
Well, I don't know that Harsin is either. Harsin's still coaching somewhere. I forgot. I think he's still at Cal or something like that, unless the budget cuts got him. But even then, even if Harsin was back in town, and I knew Gus still had his lake house in Auburn, at Lake Martin and everything. I didn't realize he's coming back to live in Auburn. But even if Harsin did come back,
at your lake house. Geez, that place is pretty nice.
Yeah, no kidding. Terry Bowden's back. Terry Bowden was back in the football building for the first time, I guess, since he left. If Brian Harsin ever came back, they wouldn't even have to reintroduce him to the recruiting room. They would have to introduce him to it, because I don't know that he was ever there when he was the head coach.
Does Terry Bowden live in Auburn?
I think he does.
What?
I know Larry Blakeney does. I know Tuberville does, despite some Democratic back chat that he lives in another state. I know for a fact that Chiswick, I think, still does. Malzahn, I thought he just, had a house at Lake Martin, went there every once in a while. He wants to go on the pontoon boat and all that. It is a great place. I lived there for a long time. I am extremely happy where I am now, but I think I read this. I think Plainsman Preston's right. He thinks Bowden lives in Orlando.
Yeah.
I lived for 7 years in Orlando when I was a little kid, and it's a ton different now than it was, but it's the most humid place I've ever been in my life, much less ever lived.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I can see how it can be a little humid down there in Orlando. So, I kind of want to save this question for Rodney. I think I will. I wrote it down when somebody we talked about this during the segment with Jason, but I'm gonna keep that one for Rodney a little bit later on. But I do think there is there again. I think this concern with the offensive line is it maybe just all of the dominating offensive lines that Nick Saban had, I think there again, that's unfair. I don't think you can compare what Kalen DeBoer is working with compared to what Nick Saban was working with. And I think there's a great number of Alabama fans that think it should be that way. And it's just not.
I cannot nod my head hard enough on that. And I don't think people, number one, I don't think people need to compare Saban and DeBoer, even though he's the first one back, and I know they always will. But John is totally right about that. Saban operated under a different set of rules. Those are rules that he was comfortable with. I liked those rules myself, where if you can recruit somebody and show them the value of attending your school and being a member of their football program to add value to themselves, then you ought to be able to recruit as many high-profile student athletes as your scholarship limits can dictate, right? It ain't that way anymore. I'm telling you. Number one, I don't think players see the value in the NFL, in preparing for the NFL, working under Kalen DeBoer as they did under Saban. Obviously, Saban was the best at preparing you for the NFL. I mean, there's still every once in a while, I'll kid around and say, "Hey, do you know where that guy went to college?" And my brother would say, "Probably Alabama." No, he didn't. He actually went so. But also, kids nowadays being prepared for the NFL and getting a quality education while you're doing it doesn't matter as much. It doesn't matter nearly as much. Wait a minute. You're telling me that I could go to college here for 3 years and I could follow in the footsteps of 35 other guys that were first-round NFL draft picks? I'll sign up for that. Nowadays, kids are like, okay, so you can prepare me for the NFL. I can make a bunch of money in 3 or 4 years if I'm patient and if I don't get hurt and, if I do all the right things and I work hard. Or I can make $800,000 somewhere else right now.
Yeah.
That's that is the biggest difference is kids nowadays getting, working hard, taking hard, detailed coaching and preparing yourself for the NFL. But also, hard. Can you just pay me the money and let me worry about the NFL?
Yeah, but
John's
also,
exactly right.
If they can go somewhere else to make more money or go somewhere else to feel like they've got a better path to get to the NFL. It's kind of what I touched on earlier today with all these players that have left Alabama to go to Big Ten schools. Are they doing it because they love those schools? They have a family connection?
Sorry. No. It's the Money. That's what I want.
I think there again, I don't want to, douse water all over this program, but I guess there are a lot out there that get it. But I think the reality of it is, and I said it last year, and people didn't like hearing me say it, this team's not going to win the national championship. We're not even to October yet. I'm in September. Now, granted, they lost their opening game in embarrassing fashion. But through the month of September, this team didn't win the national title. I'm saying it right now on April the 16th. I don't think this team's winning the national title. And that is something that Alabama fans hadn't heard in the last 17 years. Oh, we're winning the national title.
John had anecdotal evidence of people who were calling in April, in May, making hotel reservations for Pasadena, making hotel reservations for, Miami or New Orleans and stuff. Right now, that ain't happening. And again, it's a different
And I think scenario. Tobias makes a good point here about offensive linemen.
Yeah, he has a couple of points we're going to get to. We'll lead with this. NFL scouts have said that the portal has hurt offensive line development. Offensive line play is about continuity and development. How can you develop if you're bouncing from program to program? Could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
Could not agree with you more. He also brings this up. He says, and maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. In 2026, Mac Jones wouldn't have waited for 4 years behind Hurts and Tua. Quinnen Williams wouldn't have waited behind Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. Maybe he's right. I do know this.
Mac Jones, I want to say, had committed to Kentucky.
He did. He was a Kentucky commit from Bowles High School, from the Bowles School in Jacksonville. And Alabama swooped in and offered him, and he said, heck yeah, and it turned out well for him. But also, you look at the lay of the land out there. And the career of Ty Simpson has really kind of confirmed some of those other guys who say, look, development's element, patience, forget that. The one knock anybody has on Ty Simpson, as whether it's, comparing him to Fernando Mendoza, who will be the number one pick in the draft, is that Ty only started, 14 games in his career. You don't have enough, you don't have as much tape on Ty Simpson and his decision-making under duress, or, his ability under adversity, as you do for Mendoza, as you do for, some of those other guys. That's why the Colts screwed up so bad on Anthony Richardson. Guy had only started 11 games at Florida. They want to see tape of guys playing, a lot of tape. Ty Simpson, I think, is going to be an NFL quarterback. He's going to be a first-round draft pick, and he'll be successful somewhere. The only knock anybody has on Ty is that they're scared he hasn't played enough. And it's because he was patient for 2 years and finally gets a chance and did well. I thought did really well. But so all of these quarterbacks now are saying, look, take a look at that guy. He might be a number one draft pick if he had not sat on the bench for 2 years being patient. I got to play. So, I could not agree with John Moore about the absolutely, totally different set of circumstances that Nick Saban was successful in as compared to the set of circumstances that Kalen DeBoer and other modern coaches are in right now. He's exactly right.
All right, what do you say we take a top-of-the-hour timeout? When we return, Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, is scheduled to join us, as he does each and every Thursday, brought to you by our good friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market.
We have sped through hour 1 of 2 of Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. Many well-known restaurants in the River region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272. Okay, back at it. Glad you're with us here Thursday. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. The weather's great. Enjoy some fresh seafood direct from the Gulf of America, arriving daily at the Destin Connection, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Going to tell you about some great specials they got going on over there at Destin Connection in just a moment. But let's bring Rodney Orr in. How you doing today, Rodney?
Doing great, guys. How's it going?
Doing well. Thank you for asking, because we've got a lot that we're going to be asking you. First off, let's get the groundwork laid, Rodney. The best things you saw at Alabama's A-Day and the most concerning things you saw.
Best things? Well, I'd probably have to start with the potential of Keelan Russell. I mean,
yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah, I would say that was certainly a standout performance there. To be able to see him for the first time extensively. I mean, we've seen him some, but yes, he's a phenomenal talent, I think, in terms of the potential that he has. And, it's going to be interesting. Austin Mack had a great spring too, based on everything we're told. He did have some sort of an injury last week that was kind of it's been told to me it was a minor issue related to his back or something. And, so that impacted his performance in the scrimmage a little bit. But Keelan Russell, I tell you another thing that caught my attention, and I think we brought this up last week on the show. The one guy I wanted to watch was Trayshawn Brown.
Yes, you did.
The young freshman running back from Huntsville, Texas. Heard so much about him, and I thought he did a fantastic job, man. He caught the ball extremely well out of the backfield. He made the first guy miss. And the one thing, John and Barry, that I saw out of him was this, and we didn't see this last year. He has the instinctiveness, the ability, the vision to see a hole before it's actually there. I mean, Sean Alexander had it, a lot of really good backs, and I'm not comparing him to anyone, but the great backs that Alabama's had, that was one of their qualities. And I think we saw that in him, in his opportunities to carry the ball. Offensive line, still kind of I think a work in progress. I like the tight ends personally. The defensive line looked to be pretty good, but again, they were going up against an offensive line that's not ready to go right now. But I'll tell you another good thing I really saw, because it's something I pointed out on your show here. I thought the inside linebackers, we felt like Caleb Woodson would be really good because of his experience and the production he had at Virginia Tech. But I thought that the young guys were really impressive. Luke Metz, Duke Johnson, Abdul Sanders, Caden Jones played. The young freshman, Xavier Griffin. So they looked really good to me. The secondary, we know they're talented. But, those are if you want to say something, I don't know that it's really bad, but the offensive line is obviously a work in progress right now. It's got a ways to go. You got to give them time to get there. They've only had 13 practices together. But those would be some of the things that I would kind of point out.
I'll just go with the offense. I had something else I was going to ask you first, but since you mentioned offensive line, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Because as you can imagine, Rodney, we've had a lot of feedback, a lot of discussion, a lot of criticism.
Right.
This offensive line, but I think you made a good point. They've only practiced 13 times. My feeling, Rodney, is look, hold on, tap the brakes. You got 15 practices in the spring. You got all summer. You got preseason camp. If we're still having these discussions in mid-September, then there's some serious issues. But I got to think between now and that first game, with everything that's going to transpire in Tuscaloosa with that unit, it's going to be better by the time East Carolina rolls into town.
Should be. I mean, should be a lot more cohesiveness. They'll have all those practices in camp. They'll work off season on it. They'll get together. There'll be some things that they can do to improve and develop, prepare for August and then into the season. And, I look at it right now and you do see some potential up there. I mean, obviously Jackson Lloyd at left tackle. It's a guy that's got a ton of potential. Michael Carroll, he's at right guard, now. We love his potential. And then William Sanders, who has missed all of spring, he'll be back. So that should be a bonus. And they've got some players that I think got a lot of potential there. Javen James at right tackle, Delgatti at center, and Nick Brooks is another guy. the transfer from Texas. It's a swing guy that could help them. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Mal Waldrop, too, should mention him because he did run with the ones at left guard in this A-Day scrimmage. So they've got some guys with some potential. We'll see how it kind of develops. But I think personally, here's what I think. We don't know about a run game. This offensive line has to develop. But if it doesn't, John and Barry, kind of take that next step, then, again, and I'm not saying who's going to be the starter, but a guy like Keelan Russell with his playmaking ability, his legs, the things that he can do, he may be the key to carrying that offense if things don't get a lot better on the offensive line.
Kind of like Jalen Milroe.
Or, let's be honest, Bryce Young had to do it,
Yeah, he did. That's a good comparison. What do they do though? If they're sitting there and they're looking at all the film from A-Day and all the offensive coaches are saying, guys, we got something special at quarterback here. You still let it play out, right? I mean, you still let it play out into the fall, or at least publicly, you don't make that, you don't make that proclamation, right? I mean, he may be de facto the starting quarterback. I think he will start, but you've got to still keep that carrot out in front of Austin Mack and still have that competition, right?
And I think it is. I mean, listen, I know what we saw, and I know but I also know that people have said that, people that I've talked to, that Austin Mack has had some great practices, great.
Okay.
Maybe not in the last two scrimmages, but he has had some really good practice. Now, I'm with you, Barry, and I'm sure, I'm guessing John probably agrees as well.
No way. I'm not agreeing with Barry. No way.
But Keelan Russell is a special talent, man. I mean, he is a special talent. The question is, look, we can watch all that, but I do think that Austin Mack has one advantage right now, and that is that he not only is he talented, but he has a better grasp of things at the line of scrimmage, is what I'm told. Checking off, getting the team into the right play, getting the offensive line, the protections change, whatever it is. My understanding is from people that he right now he's ahead in that area.
Well, let me ask you who's ahead here. I'm not going to pin you down to one or maybe even two. Who are maybe if you had to narrow it down to the top three, who are the three best defensive players?
Oh.
Or whoever, just whatever, however you want to frame it, Rodney. Who impresses you the most?
Well, I think
important?
I think Pierre is certainly one of them off the edge. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And probably and again, I don't know on the defensive line because you've got new faces. A lot of those guys are impressive that they brought in. Terrence Green got some pressure on the quarterback. Kedrick Bingley-Jones made a play. Devin Tompkins is had a great spring up front. But I would say Pierre is certainly one of the best players they have. And in the secondary, Hubbard is obviously really good. And I know Sabb's coming back, but Hubbard's really important to them. Zabian Brown, although he didn't participate in spring. So I don't know that I could really say. I'd have to think about that a little bit, but those are some guys that would come to mind. And, it's great to have all that talent in the secondary, which they do, man. They've got some really impressive young talent. I'm interested to see how well this defensive front comes along, because that could be another really key area. It will be. You've got to be able to stop the run, and you got to be able to stop the interior run. And I thought they were a little weak at that last year.
Your Central Alabama source for live and spicy boiled crawfish is the Destin Connection here in Montgomery. The prices dropped 50 cents per pound on crawfish this week. So call today to place your order for live crawfish to be picked up Friday or Saturday. The spicy boiled are already there at Destin Connection. Just stop by the market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call ahead 288-4272. It is crawfish season, and the price has dropped 50 cents per pound. Take advantage of it at the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Everything from the Gulf of America is there in the display case, except jellyfish. They don't have those. You have to get those on your own, but they got everything else. All right, Rodney, you mentioned a little injury, a little dinged up, Austin Mack. I did not like what I saw at the end of the game when A.J. Crowell was leaving the field on some type of device that looks like for people that have a blown out ACL. What's going on with Crowell?
Yeah, that's it's been kind of, I think DeBoer even called it a soft tissue situation.
Yeah.
There's been other speculation, and who knows? I hate to speculate further than that, but there's been some talk about potentially there was some concern about maybe a tendon, his Achilles, but not that he had ruptured it or anything like that, but just that it was something nagging him. And again, I don't have that confirmed. I want to be clear, but I will throw that it is odd that, he's, really struggled with that. And like you said, he kind of had that little scooter that takes the pressure off his calf, whatever. But they have seemed to be fairly confident that laying off this spring, getting him ready for the fall. So we'll see.
Another topic, Rodney, and you've touched on it. We've talked a lot about it this week, the offensive line. I mean, this has been a topic for months. I shouldn't say weeks. There's some concern with a lot of Bama fans about the offensive line. And my thing is, like I said earlier, we got the spring, we got the summer, we got preseason camp. But Rodney, to me, the biggest concern with Alabama football is not the offensive line or A.J. Crowell or who's on defense. To me, it's NIL. And it's about players that have left Alabama to go particularly to the Big Ten. When is that going to stop, or is it? And the only way I see it stopping is if Alabama can match these Big Ten schools with the money that they're offering these guys. We know about Julian Salen. We know about Caleb Downs. I see where, Aiden Sherrill, the basketball player, is going to transfer into a Big Ten school. When's that going to stop? And what is Alabama going to do to stop it?
Well, I think you have to take each case individually, actually. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at, let's just run down some of those guys. You look at Julian Sayin, the moment it became obvious that Nick Saban was leaving, he was looking to get out of here. Because he came here.
Would money have kept him?
Probably not, no. I mean, I think he was headed to somewhere else because he came here to play for Saban. That was his whole thing. All right. And then Downs, same exact thing. Would Alabama have bumped up his money, and would it have been equivalent to what Ohio State offered? I believe Alabama would have bumped up his money and did offer him more money. I don't know that it would have been equal to Ohio State, but I do believe had Saban been here, he would have taken the Alabama offer and stayed.
Okay.
I do believe that. He came here to play for Saban. You mentioned, I guess, if you want to say James Smith and Quay Russaw.
Yeah.
The question is, and the Sherrill's the same thing, Aiden Sherrill. Alabama can bump up your offer, but and I think in Sherrill's case, they made him a really good offer to stay. But the question is, how far do you want to go? And how good is he? I mean, is he worth, or is the player worth more? And I think at some point you have to say, okay, you know what? We're not going to pay $4 million or whatever it is for Aiden Sherrill. He's a good player. We've made him a really good offer. But if he doesn't want to take it, then, we can go out and get some other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a superstar. He's a really good player. So I think you have to use judgment in each one of these cases individually. So that's just kind of me. Is this player worth it? They've held on to, and look, I know public perception has really dropped on Ryan Williams because he didn't have a very good year last year. But, when he was a freshman, if you'd have told Alabama fans he might end up somewhere else, what would have happened. It would have been a meltdown of epic proportions. And I think Ryan's going to have a bounce back year, but he's stuck here with Alabama and he hadn't done it for free,
Sure.
So,
I mean, I've heard people say, would Justice Haynes have helped that running back room?
Justice Haynes, and I'll tell you the story on him.
All right.
And just frankly, I'm just going to be frank with you about it.
Sure. Heck yeah.
He just felt like that this was not an offense designed for him. He felt like that this was not an offense that highlighted a running back kind of his style. Mm-hmm. He wanted to carry the ball. That's why he went to Michigan. And now that's why he's going to Georgia Tech, because they want to highlight him. And on the flip side of that, based on things I've heard, and I think Justice Haynes is a really good back. I mean, you saw what he did last year. And before he got injured, he was close to 900 yards at Michigan. But I do think that Alabama, this coaching staff felt like, okay, he's a good player. He's not a great player.
Yeah.
And again, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but they made that assessment based on what I've heard. And again, I think he felt like that the style of play was better somewhere else.
We have a question from our man Tobias, who lives in Arizona. Rodney, he gets up early with us every morning. Tobias, a big contributor, wanted us to ask you about commit A.J. Pauley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a defensive lineman from McGill-Tulane down in Mobile, and he's, obviously got a really what they look for. He's 6'5", he's 265 pounds. He's going to get bigger. You kind of look at how they're recruiting right now, their defensive linemen, and you kind of see a trend. The trend is that they get these guys and they make them bigger and they keep their athleticism. Jeremiah Beeman would be an example. When he came out of Birmingham, he was 265 pounds. Now he's 305 pounds or whatever. So I think that's the same thing with Pauley. Athletic frame, and they're going to build him up. So, again, we'll see. You guys know this.
Yeah.
It comes down to development.
It does.
Well, you're right. Well, I mean, I totally agree with that.
Give me what you know and what you think the context is about the injury to the wide receiver Noah Rogers. What do we know about it? And from a purely football sense, what does that mean to the program?
Well, my understanding is, again, it's a knee, and I've heard, it's 4 to 6 months is what I was told. Matter of fact, it's probably closer to 6, and October. Now the question is, when he comes back, if he comes back early October, mid-October, whatever it is, then all of a sudden you're just kind of starting from scratch in some ways. So I don't know what exactly his recovery is going to be in terms of what does that mean for next season. But what does it mean for right now for this? Look, means guys gonna have to step up. It means you've got Ryan Williams, you've got Lightsir Brooks, you got Rico Scott. And it means, Rico, you've got a lot of potential, you got ability, you got to consistently catch football. And same thing with Ryan Williams. So those guys have to step up. You got Derek Meadows, who I thought was really impressive in the A-Day game. I've always liked Derek. He's out of Las Vegas. He's 6'5". He's got speed. I really like Derek Meadows. And it also means that Cedarian Morgan, another big guy, 6'4", 225. Those two guys could be real weapons. So Cedarian looked good in the A-Day game, obviously, and he was highly touted for that reason. So I think they've got some guys, and I like what they have at tight end too, especially some of the guys that can really catch the ball. I think Caleb Edwards certainly is a weapon. Josh Ford, the new guy that they brought in from Oklahoma State's a big physical guy, 6'6", 260, can block, but he also has ability to catch. But those Marshall Pritchett, you saw him make a play in the A-Day game. You probably saw it. It was a reception from Keelan Russell in the front corner of the end zone. That was a really nice play by Marshall Pritchett. And Max Sutter, the freshman, he's really impressive too. So I think they've got weapons, even without Noah Rogers, obviously, though he was having a good spring.
And it also sounds, Rodney, that they might be having a competition for the place kicker.
Well, and I meant to mention him when you said the positives, and I was gonna come back to him. So I'm glad you mentioned that, John. Lorcan Quinn,
Sunbelt guy.
That dude, he makes it look easy. And they say the really good ones make it look easy.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if you saw him kick, but he's really smooth. He's really smooth. Again, I don't want to put the hex on this guy.
Yeah.
But John and Barry, look, he lines up there and he kicks a 47-yarder like it's a chip shot.
Oh man.
He did it twice. He's really smooth. So again, from what we've seen, I think he could be a difference maker for in that role. Now Connor Talty's back, but Connor's probably feeling some heat right now.
I would think so.
And he missed a 35-yard field goal in the scrimmage. So
not good.
Well, Lorcan Quinn is he came from Marshall. He's from Northern Ireland, and I kind of followed him. I want to say he kicked about a 59 or a 60-yarder last year for Marshall. Mm-hmm. And to Rodney's point, I looked it up. I looked up the tape of it, and it looked like he was, swinging a wedge. He just ran up to it, nice easy swing of the leg, and it just exploded off of there. And of course,
he looks like an NFL kicker, Barry.
He does,
John.
Yeah. He's that kid I knew, and he was just a freshman last year. He's an older player, but he was just a freshman last year. I knew he wasn't going to stay at Marshall very long.
I hate to end this segment on a downer, Rodney, but you mentioned he could be a difference maker, a game changer. But if you're getting beat by 17, 21, and 35 points, he ain't going to be much of a game changer.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting season, and there's going to be some challenges. You got Georgia coming in here. You've got obviously the tough SEC schedule. So you're right. There's
and who they play at the end of the year? I forget who's coming in late in November.
I was wondering when we would get to the Auburn dig. You waited until the last minute on.
Is there still?
I hate to say this, John and Barry. But I just got a hunch that Auburn's a really hungry team, really hungry program.
Yeah, you think?
And I think that they're, Golish. He's got a real opportunity because look, I thought Auburn should have won a lot more games in the freeze era that they blew.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
You hear people say, I'm not a betting man. Let me tell you, I am a betting man, and I am all over Auburn at over 6.5 wins this year. To me, that just is a layup.
Well,
I haven't seen their schedule, but that sounds like a good bet, John.
Yeah. Well, it's a good bargain at TighterInsider.com. He's been holding steady on the prices. Two entities in American society, in world society, John, and that is Augusta National's concessions and TighterInsider.com.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow.
Great value. How do people get involved, Rodney?
Barry, I think I'm going to have to quote you on that, put it across the top of Tighter Insider.
Yes. Oh, no doubt.
That's a great one. It's TighterInsider.com. It's only $48 a year, and you can get instant access with your credit card if you prefer. There is an address there to send a check, and of course, gives you all our information, but also our all sports forum. Of course, there's a lot of conversation going on there. It's usually nonstop, and it's going to pick up here later as we get closer to all these recruiting visits.
It is. How about TITV? Don't want to forget about that.
TITV, yes. The Longshore McKnight segment will be on the front page later. If they miss this, all of our radio appearances we post up there, or most of them.
Yeah.
So it's all right there. TighterInsider.com.
Love it, Rodney. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate your time as always. We'll talk next week.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
You too, buddy. Man, Rodney Orr, 29 minute segment. And
that's not even a record.
Yeah, it's brought to you by our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, your Central Alabama source for live or spicy boiled crawfish is the Destin Connection in Montgomery. Hey, the prices dropped 50 cents per pound on crawfish this week. Call today to place your order for live crawfish to be picked up tomorrow or Saturday. And the spicy boiled are already there at the market. Just stop by 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call ahead for your order. It will be ready for pickup. 288-4272.
Coming up, it is the Phantom's Daily Dog. As we roll on a little bit later on the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is Central Alabama's best-known jewelry store. Their location at 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree is conveniently located adjacent to Chappie's Deli. At Marguerite's, they have every jewelry item imaginable because they make it. They really make it. From rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and much, much more. Marguerite's can also repair, clean, and rework any jewelry item that you want to bring back to life. Whether you're on a budget or have no budget at all, Marguerite's has all types of jewelry for everyone. Go by and see them today or call 270-0074. All righty, welcome back in. About 28 minutes to the top of the hour here on Longshore and McKnight. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your business associates, even your enemies. Check us out, Longshore and McKnight, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Spotify, iTunes. Check us out on all of those platforms. Yellowhammer News on their Facebook page. A lot of people checking us out there. Really appreciate that. Also, check everything out at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. Your one source for all news, politics, lifestyle, sports. They've got it all at yellowhammernews.com. We're proudly associated with those great folks, and we really appreciate that. Before we get to the Phantom.
Yes.
John from Wetumpka.
Hey, John. Auburn ain't winning the national championship either.
You know, John, I appreciate the comment. I really would have liked it more if you'd have said, hey, John, Atlanta ain't winning the World Series either, because I know that isn't happening as well.
The two, John's getting all greedy here. Hey, I'll spot you, Auburn, and I'll throw in an Atlanta Braves dig too. Yeah, are you telling me, John from Wetumpka, that a football team can come out of nowhere? I'm sorry, a football team can't come out of nowhere with a 1-year experienced quarterback transferring in?
Yeah.
Nobody, and they're playing a Power 4 conference.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody sees them coming. This quarterback who comes in for 1 year after being a 3-year starter at another school catches fire. A group of transfers kind of gets together and gels and finds a common thread and a common goal and everything and gains momentum and goes on to win the national championship. Are you telling me that can't happen? Are you telling me that
stranger things have happened?
Has that not happened, I don't know, in the last 365 days? Has it not happened before at Auburn?
I'm with you, though, John. I don't think Auburn's going to win it either. I don't think Auburn's going to win it.
I don't get into all of this, win totals. Man, I am doubling down on Auburn's win total plus 6.5.
Over 6.5. Let me tell you, if they don't win 7 games, whew. Golesh better get ready for some arrows, bullets and arrows, because they're going to be coming his way.
This past week, I spent 3 nights, 4 days in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
And including in the city of New Orleans, spent the night in New Orleans 2 nights ago. They are all about some Lane Kiffin, even more so than Brian Kelly.
Oh yeah,
who was on CBS Sports Network the other day previewing the NFL draft. Even more than Les Miles, even more than Coach O, even more. Man, they are Kiffin crazy in Louisiana. They've even got billboards, which John is down on. Don't you dare promote your college football program on a billboard.
Some program trying to sell season football tickets on a billboard here in Montgomery many years ago.
Here's where I'm leading to. I don't get into, hey, let me look at Auburn's schedule and see if I can find 7 wins, and I'll bet the over. That interests me.
Yeah, well, I'm already
I would be happy and slightly surprised if Auburn ends up with more wins than LSU.
Well, I don't think they are either, but
I think they might
Auburn can win 7.
But LSU, I mean, that guy has come in and he has transfer portaled his brains out.
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure that he's got to win. And they're expecting
and he's accepting that. He is.
Yeah. You know, those LSU fans, yeah, they're pretty brutal.
Well, here's the reason why I bring that up specifically. There's anecdotal evidence. I was in Louisiana. I was at the hotel. It's a huge hotel downtown. Like I said, I did the show from the 14th floor. And they were downstairs. I was downstairs printing some stuff out, and there was a bunch of people downstairs in the lobby. And that was the day that Lane Kiffin tweeted out something about Alabama. I didn't see it originally. I heard these people talking about it.
Yeah.
And he would do that when he was at Ole Miss. He'd retweet something and, Saban with the emoji of a goat and all this kind of stuff. And, Alabama this and that and everything. And he did that the other day at LSU. That day I was in the hotel in New Orleans. They did not like it. Lane, you can get away with Nick Saban, goat, elephant emojis and all that kind of stuff. You can do that when you're at Ole Miss, but at LSU, they have zero tolerance for you tweeting anything positively about the University.
So who's going to tell Lane he can't do that? See, that's one of the issues.
Who's going to tell Lane Kiffin he can't do anything that Lane Kiffin wants to do?
People say Lane needs to come to Tuscaloosa. Okay, but he's going to tweet and do stuff that he wants to do, and Greg Byrne not going to be able to get him to stop.
There you go. Okay, so there we go.
Hey, how about this one, Barry? Expand Rodney to an hour? Wow, wait a minute. Hold on now. I mean,
that's
Rodney's
Chris
a busy man. Rodney's a busy man. I don't know.
Time is money too.
We got to take what we can get with Rodney.
See, the thing about Chris the Bammer is he don't even care what Rodney talks about. He just likes the idea, the concept of Rodney being on it. Because, we talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
During the summer, you think this 29-minute segment with Rodney was long? that one summer, 2 summers ago, where he and John got into a conversation. I mean, I was out.
I think we missed 2 breaks in a row.
And almost missed another one if I hadn't said, guys. But, I mean, they were talking about in-depth Mike Price situation. I think they said something about Major Ogilvy.
Number
and
42.
Do you remember that game against Missouri? And I mean, that was old home week, and goodness gracious, that thing lasted an hour. And I mean, it was an effortless hour. John and Rodney could have gone another hour.
Easily.
Without me. So
easily.
Yeah.
All right. So I see on the chat line, people are anxiously awaiting the Phantoms Daily Dog update. Barry, we had Golden State at the LA Clippers last night in an NBA play-in game in the West, 9th place versus 10th place. And I felt good about it when I released it yesterday. Felt even better when I checked the score this morning.
Yeah, it was in LA too. They were playing at home.
So I'm watching Cowherd as I'm eating lunch yesterday, awaiting the White House press conference. I like that lady's good. The press secretary for Trump. She's good. She didn't take any crap off anybody. And Colin and Jason McIntyre, his partner, they're very good together. I like the chemistry of those 2 guys. They're just railing on Golden State. I'm thinking, whoa, hold on. Phantom picked this team earlier today. What do you mean? What's the problem here? Talking about, there's some talk that Stephon Curry's going to get load management, get this minutes cut.
He's only 10 days out from his returning from his knee injury.
Yeah.
And he played 36 minutes last night.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like these former SEC players who go to Alabama practices and tell us how great the offensive line's going to be. I'm thinking, Colin, where are you getting your info? I look at this. I look at the box score today, Barry. Steph Curry, minutes played, 36. How many minutes are in an NBA game?
48.
He played a little pretty. You know what? Nobody else played more minutes than. Well, wait a minute.
He had one guy
played 41.
He played the second most minutes. Steph didn't shoot it well against the Clippers in the first half. He was 2 of 9, had 8 points in the first half. But here's where the Clippers messed up.
Oh yeah,
they let Steph get hot. He was 10 of 14 from the floor in the second half. He had 27 in the second half. Draymond Green, who hadn't been playing lately, John asked yesterday, he hadn't been playing minutes at all. He was terrific defensively, but come on. Steph Curry's in his 17th year, and it's like they said in the Olympics whenever they were playing France, and LeBron and KD were saying, the French, they're all pumped up. They got, the fans, and they got everybody behind them and all that kind of stuff. But we're over on the sideline saying, all right, who's going to guard Steph? And nobody could guard Steph. And that was the same thing last night. Nobody could guard.
We're down 9 after the first quarter, not where we really wanted to be. We're down 8 at half, but we're catching 5.5 here. So then we get to the end of the third, and we actually won a quarter here. So we go from being down 9 to being down 8 to being down 6.
I like the trend.
And then in the fourth quarter, we outscore them by 10. It's by 11 in the fourth quarter to win the game. 126-120. Very important. Win the game. Didn't need the 5.5. Took it anyway.
Yeah.
Win the game outright. After we sat there and listened to national media members basically say you're a fool if you take Golden State tonight.
Well, you're a fool if you're an LA Clipper because you let Steph get hot. And guess what? Season's over now, Clippers. And Phantom gets a winner in the Phantom.
I think I said something yesterday about, are you really going to put any value? Do you really think this LA Clipper franchise, who has never lived up to expectations, is actually going to do it tonight? Really? So maybe feel a little bit better about last night's victory, probably because we had been on somewhat of a little downward streak, but last night got us back to reality where we need to be. So we're happy about that. Unfortunately, there is no NBA tonight.
None. None. No NBA tonight. There is Major League Baseball.
There is. And boy, has a game caught my eye. It's a pretty full slate today. This is normally getaway day. We've got a lot of games that are being played before 6 p.m. tonight. Matter of fact, every game but 2.
I do love it. I do love me some day baseball. Morning baseball, Pirates against the Nationals. Yeah. Also before lunchtime, Giants and the Reds. Right at lunchtime, there's one. Well, there are, to John's point, let me count them up. There are six games before or at lunch today in Major League Baseball.
Now, Barry, I don't know much about Louis Castillo or Walker Buehler, but those are the two
you haven't heard of Walker Buehler? I heard he donated his eyes to Stevie Wonder. He's such a sweetie.
But that's Seattle at San Diego tonight.
On
MLB Network.
Listen to him now. He's picked up on a gem.
Yep. Seattle is a road favorite tonight. Seattle at 8-11 in the Western Division of the American League.
Yeah, their MVP candidate, their catcher, Cal Raleigh, they call him the Big Dumper.
Yeah.
Because of the size of his derriere, they call him the Big Dumper.
Yeah.
If you haven't looked so far this year, he has been in the Big Dumper. So we'll see.
We'll see. Seattle's lost their last 2.
They have.
8-11. They're at about 4th place in the West. As you look at the San Diego Padres, 12-6.
Yes.
They've won 7 in a row.
I can tell you this.
In their last 10, and they're a dog at home tonight to
and
Seattle?
They're starting former Vanderbilt hurler Walker Buehler.
I'm in. I'm catching 102. I'm plus 102.
I'm loving
with
this.
San Diego tonight hosting Seattle. It's the last game on the schedule tonight, if I'm not mistaken. It's 7:40. Yeah. So you got to wait a little bit. But loving the Padres hosting Seattle tonight for the Phantoms Daily Dog.
This may be my favorite Phantoms Daily Dog in the last 2 weeks. This is genius right here. I'm all over this one myself. Let me call who's a man? Somebody give me the name and number of a man. We'll get that one in just for us. So we've got that. Our Phantoms Daily Dog going baseball here on the program today. Love
there
that.
You have it.
Plenty.
Hey, Bear, programming note tomorrow, special programming note while we're at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where Price sells cars. To kick off the second hour. I wish I would have done this earlier. Been meaning to do it. And yesterday we talked a lot about it. And I said, we're going to make it happen this Friday. Lindsey Bonner from CBS 8 is going to join us to kick off the 8 o'clock hour number 2 here on the program. She's a big Braves fan.
Yep.
So, I'm kind of getting double teamed here tomorrow. Loves the Braves.
I was on Doug Amos's show on Wednesday, and she was guest hosting. She was talking a little smack about you and her on the air with your Masters picks. And
Minwoo Lee. Yeah, it's amazing, Barry. The people I work with, they love to take a little needle shot at me. Things don't go my way. It's amazing. I don't know how that happens.
I don't think that's true.
Unreal.
Well,
she's going to join us tomorrow to kick off hour number 2, and there is a plethora of subjects that we will delve into with her tomorrow, so that should be fun.
It's coming up. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest-ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web, at 834hands.com.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
All right, back at it. Here we go. Getting close to the top of the hour. We got time for the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic. Will is presented by Victoryland, where you can be a winner too. Exit 22 off I-85, Shorter, Alabama. Open 24/7, 365.
Gurn Jr. always works hard on this and gets 6 topics together. John and I don't know what they are, what they're about. And he lines them up, curates them, does the research, and presents them on the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. So let's fire it up. There's all the 6 right there with the Victoryland 777 Casino logo in the middle. And I like the titles. John likes the colors. I like the titles. This is Core 4. Core 4. The Core 4. Oh, yeah. Illinois, they were in the Final Four last year. John, no, they really were. For the Fighting Illini, 4 of them say they're going to be back, including the 2, they've got a lot of Baltic guys. David Mirkovic is coming back. Misko Raznatovic, he's the agent for the brothers. Yeah, the brothers. I called one of them one time when he was in Arkansas. The 2 brothers. Here we go. Yeah, up just a little bit. Tomislav Ivasic and his brother, who was at Arkansas.
Yep.
Hey, Zvonimir. Yeah, both of those guys are 7 feet tall. They're twin brothers. And one of them played at Illinois, one of them played at Arkansas until Zvonimir Ivasic transferred to Illinois. So those are a couple. The ponytail guy who can shoot.
Wait a minute. Whoa. That's like the dude with vertigo. I got to have more than the ponytail guy that can shoot.
His name is Jake Davis. He looks like, Jake Davis is a shooter, has a ponytail, looks like a guy that you might buy patchouli from, and he's wearing those sandals made out of car tires. But he can shoot the basketball. He's coming back. If I'm looking for anybody next year to compete for the national championship, out of the Big Ten, again, it'll be Illinois. Illinois will be the new Michigan next year. They'll be the big boys on the block. Watch out for them. Illinois is one of those Power 4 programs that you always have to remind. Yeah, there's Jake Davis.
Sheesh, look at that guy.
Could you not feel comfortable asking him if he knows where you can go to buy some pot? Like Pinto did in Animal House.
Sure.
Can I buy some?
Actually, he asked that professor.
Yeah, he asked Arnold Sutherland.
Yeah.
No, I've never smoked
some pot.
Yeah. Anyway, so look out for them. Next year, Illinois will be the big bully out of the Big Ten. Michigan, no more.
Okay, there we have it. Let's go. It's spinning away.
One of those programs that John has to be reminded of, like North Carolina State. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're big. They're Power 4 too.
Yeah, I forgot about them. Champaign, Illinois. Interesting.
Living
longer.
Scientists have developed a drug that can extend dogs' lifespans by at least a year. Startup company, San Francisco, a daily chewable pill for older dogs called Lloyd 002 mimics the beneficial effects of calorie restriction without having to put your senior pooch on a strict diet.
That little cute dog on the right.
And if it works on dogs, it could give hope for a similar drug for humans as well.
How about
That's
that?
like the joke. Hey, have you given Fido his age improving pill? I see one's missing. Yeah, and it tastes like mint.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, it's interesting. We're going to be empty nesters in the fall, and the wife's even mentioned last night. Well, we need a dog. And I kind of did the quick head fake and went, huh? I think a dog's in my future, but I don't want a big dog. I don't want a big dog. It's up on the couch and, you know, humping everybody. I don't want that. I want a small dog.
I love dogs. We've always had dogs when I was growing up. We don't have a dog. We haven't had a dog because I'm busy all the time. And dogs require daily care.
You know, cats are a lot easier. Cats do their own thing, but they're not very affectionate.
Yeah.
All right.
Leave it days. Just make sure it has food and water and it comes back.
Yeah. Have a little cat door, goes in and out. Sure.
Yeah. They're fine.
Love it.
Fine.
Okay.
Very independent.
4 more to go. Let's see what we got.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Blue, red, yellow, green. Those are the colors that are still on the board.
We got to move it up a little bit because we've spent 5 minutes on the first two topics.
Big views.
Yep. You got big views.
See?
Oh, yeah. The NBA. 86% from 24-25. Can you take a note of it? Major League Baseball, why has it been 86% higher viewership? Because it is easier to watch.
Easier might not be the right word. How about much easier?
Much easier to watch. Prime Video was part of the NBA's television rights package. Peacock, NBC, particularly NBC. NBA games across those viewership, highest viewership in 13 years.
See,
can we get baseball to look at those numbers? Because I'm a huge baseball guy. It is an absolute pain in the tuchus to try to watch a baseball game.
I've watched 86 minutes of Major League Baseball in the last 10 years combined. And I've been telling you people, NBA, they look at me like, what? NBA, are you crazy? I'm telling you, it's entertaining. That game the other night, even though I came out on the wrong end of it and didn't watch the overtime, it was a good game. Last night was too.
It is absolutely no coincidence that this boost in NBA viewership, 86%, came in year one of the league's new television contracts. NBA telecasts averaged almost 2 million viewers for every game. ABC, ESPN, NBC, Peacock, Prime Video.
Yep.
Last year was the old television contract with dreary old TNT, ESPN, ABC. This has been the most watched regular season in the last 7 years.
And I'm going to tell you, if you can go to going to the game is really exciting. I've enjoyed
John
the
likes
NBA
it because they play loud music. They got lights. They got, mascots.
Always
they
going
got
on.
Jumpy. They got Red Panda, all that stuff.
No downtime at an NBA game. Oh, and the guy shooting from the third row, it's great.
All right.
All right.
We got to move it up a little bit. We got 3 minutes to get 3 in.
We can do it. We can do it.
Well, we had 11 minutes to get 6 in, so we need to move it up.
It's kind of like Rodney with 29 minutes. Scrubbed up.
Scabbed up.
Scabbed up.
Do we want to see this? Don't show me a picture.
Yeah.
Replacement officials. Scab, meaning that's what you call officials. The officials are not happy.
No.
The NFL and the NFL Referees Association, which I didn't know was a thing, a bargaining session that featured owners, including Jerry Jones, and they want a new contract. They're starting to train potential replacement officials. Andy Britton, anyone? Training sessions have begun. The NFL says, look, if we can't get a deal with the existing officials association, we'll train some more. The contract expires at the end of next month. Not week one, but next month.
Yeah, so we know an NFL official or two. We've had them on our show. Hope everything plays out good for them because I like seeing if they're calling a game I'm watching. All right, 2 more to go. 2 minutes. Let's do it. Spin away.
Always a blue and
it is. It is. They like Kansas colors.
Yeah, I've got a question about this.
Shutting down?
if not us,
yep,
we're going strong. But is this or is this not? Yesterday and the day before, really, when the rumors started coming that the Live Tour, all those Saudi Arabians were just going to kind of let it go away. Yeah. They were getting rid of all of their investment into it, and the Live was going to go away. Now, Scott O'Neill, the Live Golf CEO, is going lead Corso on us and saying, not so fast, my friends.
Really?
Are they going? Or, in the famous words of The Clash, should they stay?
Or should they go?
Yeah,
no kidding. Barry, I haven't watched. I've watched more Major League Baseball than I have Live Golf.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I don't watch that stuff. I don't even know where to find it. Don't really care much about it. So if it ceases operation today,
no skin off.
I'm not losing any sleep.
Yeah.
So
and that's been its problem. They have 3 or 4 good golfers in every tournament, and a bunch of bozos otherwise to just fill out the field.
I mean, I've seen guys out at Kalumi that can play better than some of those guys on the Live Tour. All right, one more to go. Got to spin it to make it official here on the Thursday Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Gurn has put these together. Still sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shohei pitched last night.
Yeah.
This is no big deal. He's pitched before. He's a terrific pitcher. He pitched last night, but he didn't hit. He was held out of the lineup. He got hit by a pitch this week. He was really good. He is a really good pitcher. If he did nothing but pitch, he'd be one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers in the major leagues. But he also hits, and he's been a multiple MVP winner. So if he's out there pitching, they're going to draw a crowd. If he's out there pitching and hitting, then the Dodgers are going to win a ton. The guy's an amazing player.
When do the Braves play the Dodgers so I can really get a gauge of how good these Braves really are? That I'm being led to believe.
Well, right now in the power ratings, Dodgers number 1, and they should be. Braves number 2. That would be outstanding. I do know this weekend the Braves are on the road at the Phillies, so it's not coming up anytime soon.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
All right, great stuff today. Really appreciate Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, Rodney Orr, Tider Insider joining us today. As I mentioned, Lindsey Bonner, CBS 8 here. Montgomery is going to join us in the second hour of the program. That should be fun. And we'll be at Stivers Ford, where Price sells cars.
Many, many thanks to Rodney Orr for joining us because of his association and our association with the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Also, thanks to Jason Caldwell joining us on his walk back after walking his little girl to school. For our producer, Gurn Jr., and for John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.